What's up? We're back. We're about to re-add Ed. I told y'all, this man, it's unreal. All right, he's about to come in and join. Just get Ed. And we're
There we
back.
go.
Ed's back. I literally, so when I always stop and save that all of this information, the comments, niggas in the comments with the little emoji with their head blowing up like, and I was like, I told y'all, like, most of the time, like, a lot of my chats are a little funny and all of
Yeah.
that. And I was just like, yo, I'm prepared for this, like, this man to blow my mind. But I'm looking at the comments and, like, people like, one person was like, facts. And I was like, honestly, you're just like, you're a walking overflowing cup is what you are.
God bless. God
No,
bless.
no,
Man.
you bless us, Ed. You're a gift, dude. You're such a gift. So like,
Thank you.
okay,
Hmm.
you ended the part one with a loaded statement
Right.
because you were explaining literally how Christianity is inherently anti-Semitic. And
Right.
I was raised Christian.
Yeah.
And it's the only religion that I do know.
Mm-hmm.
As I've gotten older, I have friends outside of my circles that are a part of like several different, and I've always enjoyed, learning and knowing their practices and the things. But like hearing that was just so interesting because of how, I mean, well, just in light of everything that's happening,
Right.
in light of
Right.
everything that's happening right now and the conversation that's being put on people's laps, and for a lot of people, it's a heavy conversation that I'm like, y'all really need to sit this one out. Like, this is just
Yeah.
not, it's not
Yeah.
your range. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because it's like,
Right.
I'm a very thought provoking and thought leading person. And
Yes,
even
you are.
for me, it's like, it's out of my range. But for
Yes.
you,
For
but
this
for
guy.
you,
Yeah, man.
we got
I
so
think.
like, tell me that theory. Or like, I don't even, maybe it's like, theory might be the wrong word, but like, tell me
Yeah.
that
No.
thought
No. No. Yeah.
process.
I mean, 100%. We could even say it's an opinion, right? Because there's going to be some people that are just like, no, it's not. And I'm like, well,
Yeah, but
the
not to segue, but at the end of this, please remind me to ask where people find the wiggle room, because
oh
that's
yeah,
that's really something. But go into what you were about to say.
right. So the text, the new covenant, as I refer to it, is full of anti-Semitic phrases, right? Just the idea. I mean, growing up loosely Christian, you probably heard, "Oh, well, these people killed Jesus a million times." You know?
100%.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Jews kill the Jews kill.
Yeah, yeah, you've heard that a million times. I've heard it a million times, dude. And it's like these are interpretations of the words that,
Even
you know,
even in a lot of the entertainment media that we're fed, that is a narrative
yeah,
that's very heavily pronounced.
it's craziness. So people take that stuff to heart, right? This is why you got to be like when you read anything, when you read words, you connect to the soul of the author. Like you are being words, music, and symbols all have the ability to alter our mental state. So if
Mm.
you have this thing and you have this person that you put up on a pedestal, even above yourself, you are reading these stories about like how this group of people had him killed. Like to think that you're not going to come out like in real life and not be impacted by that is like crazy,
It's ludicrous.
right? So they
It's
are
like it's literally
referring,
force fed to you, and then it's done at your most impressionable ages.
right, right, right. So what we're seeing Ye do in the media is just a macro example of that, right? These people say the worst things about that group of people, thinking that they're defending their leader. Like they think they're avenging Jesus, to some degree. And it's like, no, you got the whole story wrong, right? Because first of all, the people that are being depicted as murderers, like these people were the keepers of the word. Like the Pharisees, like that was one of four philosophies of Judaism at that time. And these were the people that passed along. They were keepers of the oral and the written traditions, right? Because that's another thing we don't realize. Like a lot of these stories were just being told, like they were being
Right,
passed
like almost
along.
like a game of telephone.
Yeah. Before, they got things together and they started to write. And it wasn't written in the ways in which we read stuff now. It was written, differently, really, really simple, wording. We created these elaborate stories out of it. So much of the text, the new covenant, really pits the Jewish culture against their own Jesus, and we see that throughout the new covenant. So that's what I mean by Christianity as we know it, and the new covenant as we know it is inherently anti-Semitic, and that's something that we need to be talking about as a society right now, right? Because first of all, the Romans they killed Jesus. That's first of all. Second, he accepted it because he knew back then if you were talking like that, if you were doing any of those things that he was freely doing, there were one of three things that was going to happen to you. Either you were going to get stoned, you're going to get your head cut off, or you were going up on that cross. That's it. He knew this though. So he could have ran at any time and he chose not to. So the reality of that situation is no, like these people did not kill your savior. These people did what they've always done as a resilient culture. They did whatever they needed to do to preserve
To
their
keep
culture.
order and keep everything going the way that they wanted it to go.
Exactly. A temple had already been destroyed, a sacred temple. There were many uprisings that had happened. There were many rebels. Like Jesus was probably the most revolutionary human to come out of that era at the time. And there were many like him previously. And what would happen is these guys would stir up so much that the Romans would come in and just kill everybody.
Mm.
And they would destroy the temple. Right?
Mm.
So you can just imagine that these people are seeing these things happen. These people, and they're catching flashbacks like, oh man, the last time this went really bad. So we got
Yeah,
to
last time
figure
they
out,
came and cleared this whole place out.
because that's what they would do, you
Mm-hmm.
know? So it's wrong.
It almost forces people to just act accordingly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And you create these things and you got this guy, this highly enlightened man challenging the whole thing, you know? And as a people, you got to make that decision.
Yeah.
So yes, but we don't really look at the story in a holistic way. We just say stupid things like they killed Jesus, and it's like, no, you are ignorant.
It's almost just like gaslighting talking points.
Yeah, you are ignorant of the historical context,
Yeah.
and what you're saying is dangerous. But it's way, 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 way bigger than Kanye West. But
Yeah,
we're
no,
gonna
100%. 100%. And
right?
that's one of the things that gets under my skin so much is that these really intense, passionate, important, revolutionary conversations fall on niggas like that.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm like, oh,
Yep.
it frustrates me so much when I see like people that just get behind someone in this washing of like celebrity obsession that
Yeah.
we have today, and it's like, y'all, like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, this is
Yeah.
you're going to for your historic,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's just like, it's just so unfortunate to me. Like, I hate that those kind of conversations
Yeah. But
fall
we need to
on like
have them.
but
We
it's
need to
like,
have them.
I mean, we need to have them, but it's also, they're already being had at that level,
Yes.
at a level of information that is at most a 15-20% full battery.
Right. Right.
You know, and
Right.
it's just like, even like we were talking earlier, the idea that you're a free thinker and you're literally wrapped around, like, it's just like,
You can't.
it's almost just talking points
Listen, you are
of
not, most of these guys are not thinking. And that's the problem,
yeah.
right? You're not thinking at all. And that is literally, that is the biggest problem. You didn't even make it to free thought yet because you haven't even
Nowhere
honored.
near, like, you're
Yeah,
nowhere near a free thinker.
yeah,
Like, they
yeah,
just toss this word around as if it's almost like the Pied Piper, like you're just leading the rats.
yeah, yeah,
And you're just
yeah,
like, you and your flute are just
yeah,
twiddling off just anything. And you'll hear people like, Kanye could throw shit against the wall, and somebody will explain to you that it's this idea of the shit that the industry has given him, and what he's
yeah,
doing is regurgitate. It's like, are you fucking kidding me?
yeah. It's
And
crazy.
it's so dangerous because they use it against. Anyway, too much
Yeah,
about
it's
that.
crazy.
When like, rooted in slavery and everybody coming from Africa, what was the religions that were a part of our people that kind of were removed from us?
Oh, back in, well, the Yoruba tribe had several different deities that they worshipped.
It
You
was
know, they,
deities.
yeah, yeah, they had several different. I mean, theirs rival. So with colonization and the forced religious teachings that were happening as these missionaries in these countries were forcing these religions on people, the Yoruba tribe was really like, they were resilient. Like, they would take objects of their gods and put them behind the Catholic gods. So it gave them, you know, some sort of way out to freely practice their religion. We also had voodoo, right? We had a lot of these
I've
things.
come to learn a lot about voodoo lately.
Yeah, we had a lot of
Um,
voodoo.
in the way, of course, you know, as children, most of the stuff that we're fed is like that it's bad and negative, but it's literally just like a religious practice.
Yeah, yeah. Where do you think shouting and all that stuff comes from?
I don't.
Right? That originated in Benin. And Benin, in their spiritual practice, which is rooted in voodoo, this is what they did. Like, many of the church experience that we see today is a combination of all of that. You
Hmm.
know, the shouting, the dancing, the getting spells, you know, all this stuff that you see
The
happening
Holy
in
Ghost.
yeah, 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 yeah. All of that stuff you see, like, that is rooted in Africa, in Benin. But what they did was they sort of demonized that stuff and took parts of it, they, they called it Christianity. You know what I'm saying? But really, like,
From
those
voodoo, like even voodoo.
even voodoo, even voodoo, even voodoo, man. But these people don't know because they don't seek to learn outside of what they think they know. Right? They're
Yeah.
not. They're just reading the same seven scriptures,
It
reinforcing what
almost
they
just like
already.
it stops at the Bible, but then, you know, most of the people that throw the Bible at you can't recite it.
Yeah, yeah. Or again, it's the same seven scriptures that support what they're trying to say at the time.
Yeah,
You know?
wait, what are the same seven?
Oh, you know, I can do all things through Christ. You've heard that a million times. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. Like, you've heard that all the time. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the
Yeah.
shadow of death, with His stripes I'm healed.
Yeah, it's like
Healed.
it's all in the t-shirt scriptures.
Yeah, bro. It's the same things. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And you know, that's a product of reading to reinforce your point rather than reading to learn or to
Mhm.
expand your perspective. So, mhm.
Through a lot of different religions, is homosexuality villainized the same way it is in Christianity and like a lot of different other religions?
No, no,
Hmm.
absolutely not. But that's where a lot of the
White
confusion comes
whitewashing
in.
comes in.
Yeah, yeah, because okay, when you look at the text, for instance, when scholars do studies, then they see these words, they come across these words, and they say, "Wow, this is interesting. Let's see where else they use this word."
I read that
So
it's not anywhere in there.
the text, it's not, so, but the text, when it refers to a man laying with a man, it's really referring to a young boy, right? So we're not talking about
Like more pedophilia.
yeah, we're talking about pedophilia. We're not talking about like, a relationship, a loving relationship or connection or whatever that is. That's number one. Number two,
I've never heard that. I've never
yeah,
known that.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, and that's number one. Number two, the most important thing that we need to know about a lot of the commandments is like it's a dual purpose, right? It's being said, okay, don't do this, but it's also saying other cultures do this, we're not like them, right? So when you think about
Be better
the
than.
right, this is essentially what is being said but not said, right? So when you look at that, the first thing you want to think is, okay, well, what other cultures was this prevalent with, right? And this was the Romans and the Greeks. The Romans and the Greeks believed that the highest form of love and intimacy took place between a teacher and his student. Even higher than relations between you and your wife.
Regardless
right?
of gender.
Regardless, between the teacher, this had to be between a male teacher and a male student. Like sexual relations, that was the highest form of love in their culture, right? So, but you would have to have historical context to say, oh, okay, so not only is he saying like we don't do that, but he's also pointing out with the same statement, oh, this is happening over here. We're not like them. You see what I mean? So there's that, and then there's also, so they bring up the Sodom and Gomorrah thing, right? They say,
I've heard that a million times and have really never known the preface.
So it's weird, right? It's the angels come and they're at Lot's house to rescue him, and
I love how you say the way that you explain this like a Love and Hip Hop episode.
Yeah.
You're like, so the angels come, they show up over us.
So they're here to rescue Lot because God's about to burn this joint down. And the townsmen come and they're like, let those angels out here. We want to rape them, right? So people use that part of the text to also be homophobic, right? It's like, oh, they were going to rape them. And it's like, first of all, homosexual relationships, same-sex relationships, however, whatever you want to call them, are much more than sex. That's number one. Number two, clearly you don't know the difference between rape and sex. Number three, rape has nothing to do with sexual attraction.
Right.
We already know. Yeah, we already know this. So to brand or to build out a whole homophobic philosophy based on that story is just, it's stupid. Right? So you can see how these things have been twisted to, have people conform or have people think that something's wrong with them.
Do you think, like, especially in us, like our people, do you think that it was something that was just easy to latch onto for like Black people? Because it really has a chokehold on us, unlike it does a lot of other people, and it goes so deep with us, with like Black men, and the idea of homosexuality and stuff. But we kind of take it to another level with the homophobia and the Black woman and stuff. It's like, what was it just an easy complacent place for just Black people to just land on, do you think?
No, man, I just think it's just like deeply embedded, and it's really, really deep seated, and it's not healthy, and it's the cause of many people losing their lives out here.
Yeah.
And it's horrible. Imagine like not being able to like be yourself, for something that's not even like in this timeline. It's super weird. You know what I'm saying? It's like I always say, you don't have to be tolerant. All you need to do is mind your business.
Mind your business.
Just mind your business.
Let me tell you, especially, and we live in New York. Minding your business is almost just a natural flex. It's like you'll be walking down the street and just it be like, you know,
Yeah,
unless it like unless it
yeah,
happens. Yeah.
yeah.
Do
So
you
so
do
that's
you
the
think
thing.
do you think Baldwin's career would have been different had he not had to suppress that part of him?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
If America didn't, if this country didn't have such a visceral hatred for gay men, gay black men, oh, of course. Listen, there's a gentleman. I want you to look this guy up. His name's Bayard Rustin. Um,
Bayard Rustin?
yes, he's the guy who was the architect behind King's nonviolent strategy. He's the guy that was the architect behind the March on Washington. King was not, Dr. King, with much respect to him, obviously, um, was not completely sold on the nonviolent approach before
Yeah,
he met.
I've read that. I saw a Hulu documentary. It's like, you know, he was
Yeah,
with the shits.
yeah, yeah. But this guy Bayard Rustin, who was actually he was another gay black man, brilliant. He was brilliant. He was the architect, but he's the guy you've never heard of because he was gay, and they couldn't sell him to America like they did Dr. King,
Mm.
right? So many of some of the most brilliant people we've had, brilliant philosophers, brilliant thinkers, have been these men who, you know,
Yeah.
essentially couldn't get out there.
How did Baldwin like kind of push through? Like how did he kind of, because he literally is, it's been imprinted in like our history,
Yeah,
and like, you know, we hear about it now in his like passing, but he still made a very, very, very impactful like imprint on it. Like how was he able to make it through with that? Was it just like a don't ask, don't talk about, or it just we won't bring it up kind of moment, do you think?
no, I think he was always open, as far as I know. So
Yeah.
he was just I mean, listen,
Maybe
that was
that
part of
probably was it.
that's
Just
part of his
that
gift.
leading with yourself, because I find that a lot of like times with like people that I have friends and people from all different walks was like my sexuality is never a question to
Right.
them as is theirs to me, and I think that it's just like I'm always the same authentic
Right.
person, you know. It's just like
Yeah.
my sexuality is not what I lead with. It's
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's like, why do I even care? I don't care who somebody is, what their sexual preference is. That's not my business.
yeah. Yeah,
Like it's just
it really
I
is.
don't.
And I mean, but you know, I mean, if you want to talk some like some street shit, it's like anybody that's worried, we know why you worried. You know,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I have to suspect if
right?
if you're
Right.
that concerned, about like
Yeah.
what's going on with this person and what their sexual preference is. But it's such in my opinion, it's such a small part of what makes a human special.
Oh,
You know,
absolutely, absolutely.
so so I never I don't get it and I don't try to get it. But
Yeah.
I will say this, like it's just it's a terrible thing. And I love what's happening right now where we're having these conversations and where more and more people are just like, you know what,
Yeah.
forget that. Like I'm gonna be myself.
I
You
I
know?
I have a lot of people that I am extremely like proud of to see, because you know like how you can be on IG and they, you know, a lot of these like sites and posts, they put up something salacious to bag, and I've had friends where as though I've seen comments and I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe you said that. And it's like goes back to your point, like I know 20 Trumps, you
Yeah,
know, like
yeah,
I know
yeah.
people that feel that way, but I more so don't lend my energy to them. I'm prouder of friends that I see that, you know, come into a conversation and might say something into the uplifting of, you know, said person or whatever. And I'm like, go ahead, friend. Like, look, you know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like, it's
yeah.
good to know that, because ultimately, I think, like, whether it's a conversation of sexuality, it could be a conversation of race, anything, a lot of times, you know, you'll see a person, when you see them support in your absence, it makes you even trust them more with your existence,
Right,
you
right,
know, like who you
right.
are as a person and how you show up, because there's a lot of performativeness
Oh
that
yeah.
goes on. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot, and it's
Yeah,
unnecessary.
it could be really tricky. But like,
Yeah.
so it's interesting that like I never knew, so like all this time that I've known you, I never knew that like your journey really started so recently.
Oh
And
yeah,
like, so
yeah.
like, were you scared? Were you small before you got like met the dude that kind of like took you on a journey? Were you a smaller dude or like?
Oh no,
Did
no,
the,
no, 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 no.
are
I
you?
mean, listen, yeah, the physical fitness has always been easy for me.
It's always
You
been your
know?
thing.
Yeah. That's always been a thing that
Do you
I
get a
just
lot of do you get a lot of comments on like your posts? Like if you, because like personally, I'm there for the inspirational quotes. Somebody could be there for the thirst trap. You know what I mean?
oh
Somebody could be there for like, cause you'll post a little pic and it be
yo.
like, it's swole with the tatted back, but it's like,
Uh,
worry about yourself, look up to the sky and everything. But I'm gonna look up to the fucking sky, right? You were like, yeah, all right, yeah, I'm gonna motivate me, but like,
yeah,
do you get like, do the
every
girls
so
slide in your
often.
DMs?
Every so often, man. Every so often. And I take it with a grain of, hey, thank you. I really appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? Kind of thing.
Humble pie, so
Yeah,
humble,
kind of thing.
like humble
Yeah,
pie.
yeah.
What
I
would
be paranoid. Listen, it don't even really, I just be paranoid, man. It's like, man, who sent you?
paranoid about what?
Who sent you to this DM? What are you doing? You know? That's how I'll be paranoid. Who sent you?
Nah, I think your pictures are elite. I remember one day like it was me, Nehemiah, and Greggy, and I think you're like Greggy's in the gym. Hey Greggy, shout out to Greggy. I love Greggy. He's
Yeah, that's my
hilarious.
man.
But like,
That's my boy. That's
yeah,
my family. That's my
Greggy
fam.
is just the best. Not those Uggs, but like Greggy's the best. We go back and forth about that Ugg. Oh, get on my nerves. But like he goes to the gym and like Greggy does it like his gym session is just so disciplined. It's like I'm 45 minutes or maybe he's 50 minutes or something like that. You be like, you
Clock
go
in,
see Greggy
clock
and then
in.
all of a sudden he's like back. You be like, well, I thought you was going to the gym. He's like, I did, put in my little time. But I was like, one day me, him, and like Nehemiah were outside. We were just like chopping it up. But we were laughing at your folks. I was just like, Abby on the gram, just like it's just like because the
Yeah.
motivation be right there. The post is there. And like you gonna read the words to get full up, but you also gonna get you hitting the 220
Yeah.
like
Yo.
boom,
Yo.
boom.
I really try to go all the way. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I really try to
Does it help that I'm a yoga guy.
hmm
Love Bikram yoga.
hmm
I'm not a physical weights person. I just
hmm
can't figure it out and I just never think I'm doing it right. But when
hmm
you're in there, does it fuel your mental really deeply?
Oh, 100%
You do some of
mental.
your best. You do some of your best like thinking in the gym.
Oh yeah, 100%. Listen, I'm an aggressive dude. Like I have to get that energy off me. You know what I'm
What do you mean
saying?
you're
Like
aggressive?
I have
Like
to
it builds
spend
up
it.
fast.
Yeah, I'm an intense dude. You know what I'm saying? So I have to spend that energy like somewhere. It's like, do you have a dog? No, you got cats.
Have a cat.
Yeah.
Carbon.
Yeah, you got a cat. So it's like with dogs,
90.
right? When they don't exercise enough, or they don't get walked enough, or they don't have enough activity at night, they'll go crazy, right? They'll go
That's
crazy.
carbon. That's so funny. I'll be calm
Yeah,
and all of a sudden like this, it's supposed to like toss around like a ball and like jump on stuff.
yeah, they'll go crazy because they got to get that energy off, right? They, they
Mm.
gotta they gotta bring the balance, and that's essentially what would happen to me in a different way. And that's also like the root of what I believe is happening out here a lot as well, because it's
Mm.
it's all trapped. It's all trapped energy.
Yeah.
It's like you
Does
can't.
will your mood change like drastically?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, 100%. I'm way smoother after I train. Way integrated, smoother. And a friend of mine, like, because I got a guy I train with all the time, he'll tell you it's like we have some of our best ideas, conversations. It's a spiritual experience too. It lifts your spirit. You know, so a lot of these things. This is why the gym is our church. Like that's what we do every day. That's what we're loyal to. Like, and we use it um, to the fullest. You know what I'm saying?
Do
So
you track your like weights and stuff?
yeah, oh yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
everything.
intense like that.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, we have to.
There's
You know?
I read somewhere that like the gym, they can't figure out what it is, but has been equated to like helping extremely with mental health.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, there's so many different there's so many neurological advantages and hormonal releases that happen as a result of rigorous, intense training. Like
Hmm.
we know this. You have endorphin release, you have dopamine release, you have all these things like as a result of your accomplishments in the gym. So all these things, blood flow, like all this stuff impacts, so many other things that are way more important than the physical look.
Hmm.
You know what I'm
The
saying?
physical is
So
just almost like the cherry on top that comes
yeah,
with
yeah,
the
it actually
dedication
is.
and the staying into it and all of that other kind of stuff.
Right. It's always a byproduct.
Are you on like a
Always.
do you have a specific diet?
No, no. But I'm about
Really?
80.
You eat whatever you want?
Yeah, pretty much.
I know you fucking lying.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. People know this about me. I eat like, but
People know this about me.
my choice is always it's about 80. I'm about 85% vegetarian though. You know what
Okay.
I'm saying? So that's always my choice. But I'm so diligent about it, or it's I can say it's habitual, or it's a matter of preference by now. That sometimes I'll have these, like me and my guy, we were out eating pizza last night, so it's like it's just a thing where I can do what I want. But for the most part, I'm making these choices,
Hmm.
which allow me to do what I want when I do. You know?
Yeah. I remember after the pandemic, I remember because you were coming around a lot, and like I remember you were training at that gym in the Bronx, and
Yeah, yeah,
then after a while, I remember you just like you ghosted, like you disappeared, and
yeah,
you were gone for months, like would never see.
yeah.
I asked about you all the time, and then I ran into you. You were like you were on I forget you. I don't think you said Journey, but
Uh-huh.
you said that you had dove into like some kind of a practice that you were into, and you were removing yourself from like social and just all of those kind of like interaction. What was that practice? Like what was it that you were, because
It just let me
I don't remember exactly how you worded it, but
right.
it was something weird though. It came with the discipline of not really coming around and
Being out.
hanging out like you had been or we had been for a while.
Right.
But
So what happened was you always get the signs when it's time to do something different or when you're going a little bit too far right.
mm,
Okay? And I was neglecting signs that I was seeing. Like I was just gaslighting myself. Like, no, this is not happening. It's fine. And it was happening. You know what I'm saying? So there was a lot to think about. And I disconnect. Like I do that a lot though.
yeah,
I
like
immediately
it was just, and I just thought it was so dope. I was just like, wow, mad focus, like.
yeah. And that's exactly what I do. Like I'll get away and or get into my own wilderness, so to speak, and I'll just I'll just get into me. I'll get into the work. I'll get back into the structure, the things that like make me good, the things that keep me whole and cohesive, right? That these things are breath work. These things are prayer, connecting to the Creator. These things are reading and writing, like the sacred text. Like these are all these things. Like if I go 30, 60, 90 uh, days without, I start to see the manifestation of not doing that. And at the
What's the longest
time,
time you disciplined yourself?
oh, the longest time? Probably a year.
A year.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've definitely gone a year.
Wow.
You know, I've
And
definitely gone a year.
that's extreme because it's like I have a friend that literally just recently
Mhm.
got into meditation,
Mhm.
and we were somewhere like we had went to Puerto Rico for like a month. A friend of mine had a spot, and he invited me to meditate with him. He was like he does it for 10 minutes. I didn't last 3.
Yeah, yeah,
I didn't realize how hard it was to really just sit and be in that space and allow the moment. He does it just for 10 minutes. Like I couldn't imagine
yeah,
a year's like focus.
yeah. Sometimes I'll get it a minute. It's about I want to say disconnecting, but that's not the right word. But I'll just use it, for time's sake. It's about disconnecting from all of these things that are pulling you away from yourself.
Mm.
You know, and these are thoughts that we're creating. There's all these things, but we have to, as humans, like we have to figure out ways to do that in some kind of way. It doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be that. Like it could
Yeah,
be
yeah,
it
yeah.
could be a walk.
It's almost like you just jump on, like people will jump on a wave, just like, but
Yeah,
it's really
yeah. It
not
doesn't.
serving you.
No, man. It could be anything. It could be a form of art. It could be painting. It could be anything, right? But we just have to. It doesn't have to be the traditional way. And I think that's where we kind of get a little mixed up with it. Like we think it always has to be the same way, but there are various forms of meditation that work. And you just got to
Yeah.
find the one that works for you,
Have you ever
right?
thought of writing a book?
I usually start writing and I don't, but I'll put it to you like this. I have a couple of books worth of writings just in my closet because I write all the time, you know.
Mm.
So it's really just about like when I get into a space where I'll collaborate with somebody and we'll look at the writings and say, okay, cool, like this is what we want to craft, a book out of, kind of thing. So yeah,
I think it would be brilliant, and I think a lot of people would like naturally just dive into it.
oh man,
Anybody that like follows just like your day to day, it would be interesting to put story to word to circumstance to outcome.
yeah.
Like I think that would be like genius.
Yeah, we got a ton. I got a ton of, I write all the time. That's like my outlet. I always have like, my notebooks. You always see me with a bag or whatever, and there's some notebooks and pens in there because, I've learned, or even my notepad in my phone, right? Because I just
Yeah,
learned like sometimes you'll be walking and you'll get an idea or you'll get an insight. Like you need to stop and write that down right away.
yeah,
Like because you're not gonna remember it, you know?
yeah. That's
So I
true. I suffer from that all the time. I
yeah,
go into I have like a file in my phone, the little notes section, and I have to go in there and write something that I think about, or else it just leaves me. I have like no memory. I smoke a
yeah,
lot, so like it doesn't like help, you know.
yeah.
What is your going into the new year? Are you astrological at all?
Yeah, 100%. That was like one of our first conversations, remember?
Kinda, but it's like signs get
So we
tricky.
touched on yeah, we touched on religion a little bit, but I'll just say that so astrology was also something that our ancestors practiced. Our ancestors could track the planets and the planetary energy without instruments. Like
Hmm.
this is a practice that our people developed, and it was like the first psychology. But the reason why, it's empowering when you get it because it's a science, right? It's
Yeah.
not just the sun sign. Like I say, oh man, we got this Virgo connection because I know that's your sun, right? But I got 4 planets that were in Virgo when I was born, right? Saturn, Jupiter, the moon, and Mars. So I can
I did one of
understand.
those charts. I'm a double Virgo Gemini.
Yeah, see, that's
Sun
crazy.
move sun psychopath.
That
Sun
that
move rising.
Yeah, yeah. So that's a lot of mutable energy right there. You know what I'm saying? That's air and earth right
A
there,
lot
man.
of
So
beautiful. Why do
yeah,
people? why do people play astrology so much, you think? Like,
Well,
astrology, like, you have people that literally will look at people as if it's kind of like immature and just like nuance, that they really connect to astrology. Is
well,
this
that's
because like the way people use it?
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
Like,
not a.
oh, I can do XYZ, you know I'm a such and such. It's like, oh no,
Yeah,
you're fucking toxic and unaccountable.
yeah. Well, there's always the shadow side to all of that too. Just like we just like to latch on to the good portions of the characteristics, but we don't look at the like you say a Virgo can be overly analytical. Like you don't miss. You have that you're this really detail oriented guy, right? But also the flip side of that is you could be overly critical,
Extremely,
right?
yeah.
Which is, and you could be overly critical to yourself, which is like harmful, But
Yeah.
like you probably wouldn't if
I'm
if
a
if
victim of that,
someone were talking
100%.
about yeah. So, but if someone were talking about like the sun sign or what have you, like they don't usually go to that part.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? Virgo, they say, "Oh, I'm organized, I'm hyper efficient, blah 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 blah," and all this
Just here to
consumer
help.
purity. Yeah, but they won't go to that. So there's always the shadow behavior as well, right? And then there's all the houses, right? There's the sun, there's the moon, there's the emotional body, which the moon represents. There's the rising, which is how you view the world and how you potentially show up in the world. So astrology is not. I think people get it mixed up where they think that it's the truth,
Yeah.
right? But it's not the truth. It's about what's possible.
When
That's
when
it.
when did when did people start like straying away from it more so?
Second, I'm
When
sorry.
did
Second.
people start straying away from it more so? 'Cause like you said, it was a practice. It was almost like the first psychology. Like, when did people start shifting?
Well, I believe that when it's an empowering tool. It's a tool of empowerment, right? So this, if we're going to call it a science, which it typically is, it actually is, the sciences and the religions do not mix, right? One can be used as a tool for control, and another one can be used as a tool of massive self-discovery, right? But you've always had that conflict since the beginning, and man has this natural inclination to worship what they can see. And
Mm,
that's where a lot of these people come in with well, I'm this, so this means that I'm this. And it's
mm.
like, no, that's a possibility,
Yeah.
right? That was the energy that permeated the air when you were born. Those were the planetary positions when you were born. So it's possible, right,
Yeah.
that you embody this energy and these characteristics, because that's how astrology started. You had these wise guys who sat around and said, oh, well, kids that are born around this time during this season usually come out with these temperaments,
Yeah.
and
And
they
then
just
once you
they
have
catch
enough to see a pattern, it becomes like characteristic traits.
and you do that across a couple of thousand years. I mean, that's another thing about Christianity. Like, who do you think the three wise men were? Like, they came to find the Savior. They followed the stars. You know what I mean?
Those niggas were some astrologers.
They were magicians.
They
You know
had
what
to
I'm
be
saying?
Virgos. They had to
Yeah,
be Virgos.
possible, possible, quite possible. So,
Crazy.
so yeah, man, it's there's always been a conflict, and it gets a really bad rap because of people misusing it, just like anything else. I mean, we talked
Yeah.
about the religions. We talked about these really beautiful religions that essentially get a bad rap because of the interpretations.
Yeah. And how people
You
use.
know?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's fucked
yeah.
up.
Yeah, so but it's a really beautiful thing. And like I tell everybody else, your ancestors practiced this. So all your ancestors were just wrong. Is that what you're telling me? Like they understood the planetary movements. They understood the positions of the planets and how they affected the Earth's geomagnetic field. They
Yeah.
understood that humans
And they
have
didn't have none of the tools that we have.
no, no, no. So, all of a sudden, everybody's lying, and we just know it all. This thing's got to be fake. It's like, there's no way. Doesn't make any sense.
It really is. Man.
Reconnect to your roots, man.
Yeah, that's 100. Honestly, that's the best. That's even the best way to wrap it up. Like everything
Yeah,
you just said, reconnect to your roots.
yeah,
Because if
man.
anything, every time I talk to you, I come off with, of course, knowledge, some gems, but also a rethinking of like just something, or like I was telling you just the comments, like people were just like just blown away by
Oh,
somehow your
bless you.
knowledge helps people tap into our shit,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
rethink something, or do I actually know this? Why am I just
yes,
comfortable with thinking this? And can I go a little deeper? Can I go to
yes.
another layer and all of that other kind of stuff? So like
That's the importance of community.
yeah,
That's the importance of real connections, right? Because there's what you know. You know what you know. There's what you don't know. You don't know some stuff. Like you can't speak German. Okay, cool. I
right.
could go learn it,
I
right?
know I don't know
Right?
this. Right.
Right? But then there's the things that you don't know. Those are your blind spots. And that takes relationship with another person to bring that into your conscious awareness. So exchanges, communication, community, like that's where we come from. Like that's the tribes that like those were our principles. These are our ancestors survived. And this
Yes.
individualist culture is
Community.
killing us. Yeah, it's killing
Community
us.
literally was the main thing that kept all of these people together.
Yeah, so we have to get back to that. We have to get back to genuine exchanges. We have to get back to just genuine love, man. Because what we're facing if we don't, I don't even want to think
Yeah,
about it.
it
You know
almost
what I'm
makes you
saying?
daunting. But I try not to think about that either. I always think about like the good stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
as usual, every time I talk to you, it's just like gems just fall from your
My
mouth.
brother,
You're
my
like
brother,
diamond
thank you so
mouth.
much.
You're like diamond
Thank
mouth.
you.
To everybody that was watching and that will watch it,
Mhm.
please tell them like how they can like follow your social and
Oh, so there's this I am Ed Napper on Instagram, and I just started a men's group. We want to
oh
welcome
wow.
all the men up on 139th and 8th Avenue at Grace Congregational on Thursdays at 6:30. So we're talking about
And it's
all of
like
this
an in
stuff.
person, everybody show
Yeah,
up kind of
yeah,
moment.
yeah, yeah,
Oh
yeah,
wow, that sounds
yeah.
interesting. And what do y'all just like just talk shop?
Oh yeah, man. We're talking about emotions. We're talking about intellect. We're talking about the culture. We're talking about
How
these.
diverse has the crowd been?
Oh, it's been diverse, man. I mean, folks from all
That's
kinds
good.
of walks and fields and all these things. So it's been really good, and it is very necessary
Yeah,
for
I would
what
love
we
to
we
check it
have
out.
right now.
I would
Yeah,
definitely.
come through.
I would just like to sit in there and just hear. Like I said, we're sponges, and
Yeah,
one of
yeah,
my favorite things is just like hearing a person's view, but also hearing them listen to
brother.
another person's story. And yeah, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
we are going there every week, man, and it's a beautiful thing to
Oh
see
yeah, that's
brothers
exciting.
sharing and learning. You know what I'm saying?
No, I would definitely. I'm gonna check that out.
All
Well, this
right, we're gonna
is
be expecting you.
no. I'm a man of my word, especially after you doing this. Like, are you kidding me? Like,
Oh, of
like
course, man.
you completely like elevated this platform that I'm trying to do and just
My
reaching out to
brother.
people. Yeah, and like even when you said you were like you have a special place in my heart, you got anything. I was just like, God, Ed, like you always got the fucking words. Like, yo,
Yeah, brother, because you are true to yourself, Rick, and I really appreciate that. You are. Anytime I've ever seen you, it's always been genuine, and you are fully self-expressed, and that is a blessing, and it's rare, and also it takes a lot of courage in
yeah,
this
thank
world.
you.
So when I see that, and I truly mean that about you, like I really admire that. I just, yeah, I don't. That's my thing. Those are my folks. You know what I'm saying? And in that, like, if you ever like, if you need me to be somewhere, I'm there. You know,
Yeah,
that's it.
I appreciate that. And I will say thank you because it feels good to be seen authentically.
That's
And
right,
yeah, I love that. Thank you
my
so
brother.
much, Ed. Like, oh my God, man. Like, this was one of the most amazing talks.
Awesome, man.
Everybody,
Thank you.
the amazing Ed
Thank you,
Nathway.
brother. Thank you,
And
brother.
check out
Thank
his
you.
group on Thursday.
Yes, Thursdays is 6:30.
Thursdays at 6:30. So thank you, Ed. This is the
All
key
right,
to
brother.
success.